Ever feel stuck doing the same complex, repetitive tasks over and over again? Well, there's a powerful scripting language designed to solve that exact problem. Today, we're diving into TCL, the language of automation.
So, what in the world is TCL? It stands for Tool Command Language. The best way to think about it is as a dynamic scripting language whose real superpower is acting as a glue. In really technical fields like chip design, it's the language that connects and controls all the other powerful software tools, getting them to talk to each other and work together seamlessly.
But why should you care? It's simple, really. TCL is all about working smarter, not harder. It lets you automate those totally mind-numbing repetitive tasks, build your own custom workflows by mixing and matching different tools, and basically create a perfect interface between all your software. It is all about efficiency.
To really get a handle on TCL, we're going to walk through 4 key building blocks. We'll start with controlling a script's logic, then we'll move on to working with files, then we'll create our own reusable commands, and finally, we'll execute system commands right from inside a script. Let's get to it.
All right, our first core concept is controlling the script's flow. This is where the magic really happens, It's how we give our script the ability to make decisions and repeat actions. This is what turns a simple list of commands into a smart, automated process. So, to build our script's logic, we're going to use a handful of these fundamental tools. Set is how you create a variable to hold information. For each lets us loop through items in a list one by one. If helps us make decisions based on some condition. Else set lets us change something inside a list, and puts just prints results to the screen. These are the core of our logical toolkit.
Okay, let's see this in action. First, we set a list of numbers. Simple enough. Then we use a for each loop to go through each number. Now, the really interesting part is this if statement. It uses that %sign, the modulus operator, to check for a remainder when we divide by 2. If there's no remainder, well, the number has to be even. When that happens, the else set command jumps in and replaces that number with its negative. It's just a perfect little example of conditional logic at work.
So, how do you run this thing? You'd save the code in a file, usually with a .tcl extension, and then you just execute it from your terminal using the TCL shell, which is TCL-sh. It's really that straightforward.
And boom, here's our result. The script looped through, found all the even numbers, and flipped their signs, leaving the odd ones completely alone. Just like that, we've used some simple logic to totally transform a set of data.
Okay, our next building block, working with external files. A script becomes so much more powerful when it can read data from a file and write its results back out, right? This is how TCL interacts with the rest of the world.
For this job, we've got another set of key commands. Open gets us access to a file, close finishes up the connection, read pulls in all the content, and good old puts can be used to write data out to a file.
So in this example, we're doing a full input and output cycle. First, we open a file called input.txt in write mode. That little W+ just means if the file doesn't exist, go ahead and create it for me. Then we use puts to write the word test into it and close it up. Right after that, we open the very same file again, but this time in read mode, read its contents into a variable, and then puts that content to our terminal.
And this slide shows the whole process perfectly. When we run the script, it first writes to the file. Then, that second part of the script reads the file and prints out what it found, the word test. We've just made our script communicate through a file. Pretty cool. Now, what if you have a block of code you want to use over and over and over again? Well, that's where our next section comes in, creating reusable procedures. This is how you make your scripts clean, modular, and way more powerful by building your own custom commands.
The whole process is actually pretty simple. It just breaks down into 3 easy steps. First, you define the procedure using the proc command, giving it a name and telling it what arguments to expect. Second, you implement the logic inside it. And third, you call your new command whenever you need it, just by using its name. Define, implement, call. That's it.
And here is a great example. We're defining a proc, a procedure, named printSumProduct that takes 2 inputs, x and y. Inside, it calculates their sum and product, and then prints them out nice and neat. The return command just exits the procedure. Then, right at the bottom, we call our brand new command with the numbers 10 and 50. And just like that, we get our clean, formatted output. We created a little mini calculator that we can now call anywhere else in our script with any 2 numbers we want. Now that is the power of reusability.
All right, for our final building block, we are going to unleash the full power of your computer.
This section is all about executing system commands, which lets your TCL script do pretty much anything you could do from your computer's own command line. This is a game changer.
The key to all of this is one single master command, exec. Simply put, exec runs any command line tool or program and then captures its output, making it available right there inside your TCL script. It's the ultimate bridge between TCL and your operating system.
And look at how simple this is. Puts exec ls runs the ls command to list files and prints the result. Puts exec pwd runs the pwd command to show you the current directory. This means anything your terminal can do, your TCL script can now do too. The possibilities are endless.
So let's do a quick recap of our building blocks. We learned how to control the flow of a script with loops and conditionals, how to read from and write to files, how to package our code into reusable procedures, and finally, how to execute powerful system commands with exec.
If you take just one thing away from this, let it be this. TCL is like a universal remote for automating your digital world. It's the tool that lets you control all the other tools, making complex processes simple and totally repeatable.
And that brings us to the end. With these building blocks, you now have the fundamental tools to start automating. So really, the only question left is, what repetitive, time-consuming task will you automate first?